Alright, welcome. Just finished my Flip a Card machine from 1961. Just had a really good game on it. Got all the cards, won about 6 replays since I already had 2 on the counter, so I've got 8 credits on it now. It's a really nice game. All decked out, all restored. Do a gameplay of it and then talk about kind of what makes it tick on the inside. Cleaned all the bumpers. It's got very good bumper action. Actually, after I finished it, I had to change the scorecard that it had because the score was now too easy to beat since the action was so greatly improved from when I bought it. So there's a spin. What do I get? Ace? Oh man. That was not a good demonstration of a spin because it didn't even get me the card. There we go. Yeah, sometimes the other finger just won't sit exactly right, but almost every time it will. That got me 8. I'd say maybe about but it also kind of balances out because sometimes you'll get 2 cards if it sits between the contacts, just because those units are so poor. Wow. This is a very weird game of Flip a Card 3. The easiest card to hit is my last card I need. That's something, right? Wow, I got the hard shot, but I missed the 3. Come on. You can tilt it, but barely saved it there. There, now my inlane, my ace, and spinning ace on the spin. Any one of those will give me special for a free game. Have the first replay at 5,200 points as well. All the normal cards score 50. Jack and Queen score 100. King is 300 and Ace is 500. Okay, come on, give me Ace. Come on. Oh. There, straight up. Got the 5,200 special and then straight up the Ace for special. This is definitely the video that's going on YouTube. That's for sure. Despite my Ace not getting awarded. Oh, come on. Oh, went down to 6 instead. Oh, right there. Another special. Oh, I had a 10-point contact with special because it was or a free game because it was 5,800. Ooh, another one. Just snuck it. Oh my goodness gracious. I saw a whole nother ball after this. I'm gonna max out the replay counter. I should have reset it. I won't be able to get any more replays after one more. Because it'll get to 15 and it'll open that switch that never gets opened to cut the 7,000. Alright, you folks on YouTube will have to keep track if I win any more replays because I've got the card at 52, 58, 64, and 7,000. So if I somehow get any other specials, you'll have to let me. Ah. Oh, the inlane special. 8. Oh. And spinning the. Alright, last spin. Oh. 7,765. Woo, what a game. What a game that is. Now time to crack her open and show y'all what Flip-A-Card has on the inside to offer. And Flip-A-Card has this very unusual unit in it called the spin unit, I believe. It's a really interesting mechanism. That was a great game. That showcased basically everything you can do in this. So, here's the inside. Actually, let me go real quick and grab a headlamp so I can illuminate some of the stuff. Should have some in the toolbox. There we go. Hopefully this one's not about to die. Alright. So on the inside of Flip-A-Card, pretty normal single player stuff. Score motor, control bank for start unit, all your relays. Cleaned every single one of them, burnished all their contact points, readjusted them. That's why they're all super shiny. Except for 2 coins per play relay. It's not like I'm gonna need to use that. But everything else is neat. This is also one of the only electromechanical machines to have a capacitor in it. They have this capacitor, which is what's the rating on that? Yeah, hopefully you can see the rating because it's to delay the, it's supposed to be spin delay. Every time one of these switches closes or opens, I believe, it charges the capacitor to give it enough delay to know when the card is finally, when the spinner is done spinning here. So yeah, this is a really interesting unit. It's got a couple switches on the back. I already had to fix it pretty heavily because not only was the coil stop completely broken and just sitting inside the inside it, but more importantly, this was broken. This small little thing that sits right, let me get the flashlight down here so you can see. That small little dealie sits right there. That one right there. This arm actually goes up and hits this little piece of metal. And that's to kind of alleviate all the pressure from the plunger slamming into the coil stop, since those are supposed to connect around the exact same time. Since that one probably broke first, the coil stop broke second. So as this steps up the unit, the finger moves further on this side, and the reset there. Got a little hung up, but resets the spring tension. Now, I was a little confused after I fixed it because it seemed like it would only actually spin it half the time. And that's because I didn't know where to adjust the finger, where it sits. This is really important. You actually have to adjust. Let me actually zoom out the camera. There we go. You actually have to adjust this finger right here. So this is about exactly where it has to sit when it resets. The only thing that's important is if you step up the coil 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 5th step, it has to clear the spinner, okay? Because this game actually kind of has 2 different spin settings. It has the, what I'd say the weak spin, which is that, or it has the full spin, which is all the way back. And the way the game does this is, as soon as you hit the spin, it does a spin, resets the coil, and then immediately afterwards, it steps up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you don't hit any other spin before the ball drains, you'll get the weak spin because it won't step up. But more likely, immediately after your spin, the ball will drain, and when the ball goes in the out hole, it actually steps up the unit another 4 or 5 times. That way your next spin is very strong. And what this actually does is these switches that close over here, they activate this absolute piece of garbage AS relay. This one's the spin relay, and every time he pulls in, the little ratchet, he changes where the finger sits on this side, and there's a board on the opposite side. There's a huge burn mark. You can see where it was there. I burnished the contact points very poorly and kind of gave them all a little bit of continuity with each other. So then I had to go back through and cut between every single one of them. Biggest piece of junk in any old Gottlieb machine, in my slightly professional opinion. We got the original score motor sheet in here, in case your machine does not have the score motor sheet. Take a good old look at that thing. And I don't believe I have the original schematics for this one. So, a little bit out of luck there. But other than that, the only other thing of note under here, besides the huge trip bank for the all the cards, I think 2 through ace going this direction, is the double resistors here. I think they should have only had 75 ohms originally. Someone might have added this 10 ohm one, but that's because the light inside the central 100-point bumper is tied to the coil circuit, so you need at least 10 plus 75 ohms, so 85 ohms of resistance between the common and the and comes out the other end of the resistor there. Gosh, I'm really bad at holding the camera today. But regardless, let's take a look at the back here. Everything on this game is pretty simple. It's a one-player game, so it's not terribly much going on in it, but very simple, fun game. I was very excited to get this one because this was the last card game and I just bought like another card game regardless. This is the last card game I needed to have all types of card games. My first one is King of Diamonds. You collect all the diamonds. The second one was Riverboat. You collect all the spades. And then I had Sweethearts, where you collect all the hearts. And Flip a Card, I think, is probably the only one where you collect all the clubs. So I think it'll be real cool to have them next to each other in the arcade eventually. You got your, very simple, you got ball and play unit, you got your replay unit, which I stepped up all the way to 15 because I am awesome, that's why. And got all your relays for 10s through 1000s. The only other thing of note here is the 0 to 9 unit here. It's that same really horrible Gottlieb AS relay that has to be completely taken apart, and I burnished the contacts with a Dremel bit, so I bleeded them all together, so then I had to cut between all the parts so multiple lights wouldn't light up. But this one's even more complicated than the other one because it has this doohickey on the inside that has to be perfectly adjusted to, when it's on top of the gear, break the bottom switch and then make the top switch. You can see how it's just barely moving there. Normally you'd be like, well, why don't you just push it all the way into the gear teeth to make it move more easily and have more travel? Yeah, that would make sense, but this gear is mounted on this ratchet, which also does both of these fingers on the blades. So having a lot more tension on these switches makes it that much harder for this ratchet to push up the plastic with the just this little spring. This little spring is the only thing that is shoving this finger up into the plastic ratchet there. So you just want it to be able to barely make and barely break the switches, because as far as my testing, this switch is what chooses whether the central 100-point bumper is lit or not. Because the match unit on this one, the 0 to 9 unit, this pulses every 100 points. So it doesn't pulse as often as an old match unit, thank goodness. Hopefully that won't last. It'll last a lot longer that way. That was a good design. But since it pulses every time you score 100 points, there'll be certain hundreds where that 100-point bumper is lit up. It'll just be easiest to show in the game. So let me lower the field, show it to you real quick. That way I can actually show the spin unit in action. So count it up, ball and play 1. This is one of those that won't score anything until that ball and play unit has counted up its first step by going over that switch in the trough, so to speak. So let's get a spin. That was pretty good. Got a jack off that, 100 points. And now that I haven't drained a ball yet, this will be a weak spin. See, I didn't even make it around the whole turn of the circle there. So now watch, when I drain the ball, that spin unit, that finger back there, you'll see that little brown thing right where my finger is, that'll count up another like 4 or 5 times. Watch. See, I counted up even further once I drain the ball. That means my next spin will be a little stronger. That was almost 2 full rotations, which is huge. But yeah, let me show that unit in action because it's really cool to just watch that thing spin. Let me just drop the ball, boom, and then I was like, where's my extra arm to hold this up while I demonstrate this? Oh yeah, the playfield razor, that would help. All right, let's get a spin on the out lane. Well, that way you can watch this spin and this pulse at the same time. Now a short spin. Now let's drain a ball. Now what? We're on ball 4. So a big spin. Which I suppose I'm incorrect. It looks like this switch pulses the spin pulse relay over here, which then pulses that. So let's get a big spin in here. And then, I suppose, watch the spin pulse relay over there. Actually, I'll just show the relays for a normal spin. Because this is the most... problematic ordeal in the whole machine is the spin function. So, which is also as futile as it is in most games for a spin. Very rarely do you often spin because you will most likely lose your ball between the flippers with the huge flipper gap there is. And you can't get 4, 3, and 2 off the spins, which makes sense. They're the easiest ones to hit. Oh yeah, I was going to demonstrate the bumper. So, for example, let's take something that scores 100, like Jack, and you'll be able to see bumper on, bumper off, on, off. Because that is pulsing every hundreds, pulses this match unit. And does that switch there. That inner switch is what turns the bumper on and off, which also makes it score. So it can't score that many points because when it's lit for 100, it's only going to be lit for 100 for one hit, because that's going to immediately pulse the hundreds again and turn it off. And it's not going to light up again until you get another 100. So, yeah, really neat game. Definitely will look great. next to a lot of other card games. I might eventually override the, I might put flashers behind the logo, but this is one of those Gottlieb games where the logo doesn't actually light up until you've gone to game over. So drain the ball, and I happen to get the match number. Look at that. What better way to end a video? But, yeah, no, this is Flip a Card. Real nice game. Real nice cabinet. Really, really nice cabinet. For its age, it is almost perfect backlash. She's got a little stuff missing in her shirt and a little bit of hair flaking off, but I noticed that is probably the most common spot for flaking to occur in Flip a Cards, just based off the other listings I've seen. But yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day. Maybe check out some other videos, and I hope if you own a Flip a Card, this helped you out a little bit on some of the problems you might have had with it. So, see you around.